Hey guys, welcome back to Parkitect. In today's episode is going to be the part 3 of the walle darkride, and this is just going to be the last 3 rooms of the walle darkride. So if you already haven't seen the video on the results, I'm going to spoil it here because it's been a couple weeks. I won, so that was a surprise to me. I didn't expect that to be the top darkride for that monthly challenge, but it was a fun and difficult challenge at the same time. It was a lot of learning experience for something that's developing a darkride in general, but that was fun. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas, and we're reaching up to the new year. Hopefully this video comes out before the new year, so I'm praying that it does, but again, that's why I'm trying to record this now. So let's get on to what's being built. So this is going to be the fight with Otto. So I knew I was going to make another copy of the Axiom Bridge in the same realm. So I just didn't really need to recreate anything new. That was the interesting part about doing darkrides. You want to make different rooms. Every single scene has to be different. But in my line of thought was this is going to be a representation of the movie. It has to be somewhat kind of just beat scene for scene, kind of in the way. So that's kind of the objective here. So I just made a very simple copy of the bridge that you saw earlier. And also I'm also keeping in mind that the vehicles are moving quite fast. When the vehicles are moving this quickly, some scenes are going to be shorter than others. So just imagine going through a darkride at Disney. So the darkride that I would use, for example, would be Snow White's Scary Adventure, which got renamed to Enchanted Wish, I think. That darkride has... the first scene is literally the quickest scene you can go through, is going through the cottage with Snow White and the dwarves singing their happy song, whatever it's called, and then you go into the dark forest. So a scene like that is real quick. So I did the same thing with the scene with the captain and Eve and Walle giving the plan. That scene's real quick. So they're a very quick shot of, I don't know, audio, dialogue, done. And then you go into the fight with Otto. So just imagine the scene's actually a little bit more lively than what it represents in the game, because again, we don't have animatronics. But just imagine Otto maybe comes down from the ceiling, wiggles, grabs the plant from Eve, and I don't know, maybe Gopher comes out of nowhere. But I didn't really represent that there. But with that, you're there for good, I want to say 10. No, you're there even less than 5 seconds, even maybe 6, 7. You're there not that long, but it's enough to do quick dialogue, and then something happens with sound or dialogue, and then we go on to the next scene, which is the on the Axiom's holodeck, and trying to put the plant in the holo detector, then to tell the ship to go light speed back to the planet. So this is where I kind of pick things up more, because again, I skipped the scene where Walle gets basically destroyed because Otto electrified him, right? And he falls down that tube into the trash compactor. So I completely skipped that scene. So this movie is not as graphic, as you say, as Walle. So there's some differences in that. And also, I skipped out the whole humans on floating wheelchairs kind of thing, because that doesn't necessarily exist except for the captain. But kind of there. Otto was a very interesting figure to work on, I say. There was a lot of little details I wanted added. But again, you don't want to go too heavily detailed. So simple is the way to go in some cases, even though you really, really want to make it as movie accurate as possible. I tried, but I didn't want to go too crazy. Some mechanical interesting techniques I found out is that with Freedom 2000 you can do the sticky command. And it was actually very easy to make that wheel by doing the sticky command, and that was actually really cool to find out. So I did enjoy finding out some little cool techniques with Freedom 2000, especially on making little scenes and things like that. Same thing with the dashboard and the control, is I used sticky command to put circles on the console. That was actually really nice to do. And then it's very simple to just kind of make the consoles. The consoles are different from each other, but again, they're supposed to be. But there's small details that the writer really won't notice when they come up to that scene. The dialogue plays, lights turn on, sound, stuff like that, effects. Then you go on to the next scene. So that's basically the gist of this scene. The next couple things are just trying to figure out... I'm using the roof cutaways as a way to hide some unflattering areas, because the back of this room where the auto fight is a black wall. 100% not detailed at all on purpose, though, because when you enter that room, the light at the end of the room basically catches the eye of the writer, and then that dictates what the writer should be looking at. That's why I like the ride vehicles for like Haunted Mansion, because literally that ride vehicle, you are forcing the writer to look at what you want for your storyline to work, versus a traditional dark ride where they have freedom of moving their head around, looking at all the corners. So we have to kind of maybe focus on making sure that all corners of the room are more 3D. There's a prime example of a ride that uses all of its surfaces for detailing. It would be Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin. Because again, the ride vehicle can spin around 360, because you can make it spin. You just spin the wheel and the car goes spinny spin. So that entire ride is fully detailed to the kilt. It's so fully detailed because everything has to be drawn. There's walls never blank, and it's quite exhausting to do stuff like that. So I'm trying to find out some shortcuts and things on hiding things behind black walls or directing the viewer to another area. So jumping on to now making the basically the sign of the attraction. So I had a couple names thrown around. So it's going to be either Wally's Adventure, and the other one was going to be Wally to the Rescue. And Wally to the Rescue just sounded more complete of its storyline. I am taking a beat off from Mike and Sully to the Rescue from Disney's California Adventure, the Monsters Inc. ride. It's the same idea, because Wally is trying to rescue Eve, but in doing so, it becomes in rescuing the planet. So it kind of does the same beat. Same thing with Mike and Sully. Mike and Sully literally starts after Mike and Sully are at the restaurant and they have to get Boo out, and then the CDA, I think it's called, yeah, Child Detective Agency, comes in and then does this whole sweep. So that's basically where that movie starts. Same thing with this dark ride. With this ride, I kind of started the movie in a different spot. I started the ride in with the rocket taking Eve to the Axiom. So it's kind of the same idea here. So I would suggest or encourage any of you all try to take a movie story, a book of some sort, and try to crunch it down into a 2-3 minute dark ride somewhere in Parkitect or any other game. It's just an exercise to try. I think it would be very beneficial for especially telling stories in a confined space, because dark rides don't have to be this magnificently giant, because again, this challenge is quite large in its scale. It's probably why we got an extension in our deadline. But I want to try to do another dark ride, maybe another theme park, or I might even throw it into American Adventure in the water park area, like make a water dark ride or something. But I already did that with Listening to the Land, so I don't know if I'm going to repeat myself again, so I don't want to necessarily do that. As I stop rambling, I'm going to jump onto the Lido deck and the Hollow deck. So this final scene you see here is not actually final, so I was having difficult problems doing it. So again, I've been having this issue of I build the thing very crudely, and I get the somewhat like blueprint of the area, kind of get the feeling for it, and then I destroy it and I redo it, and it usually comes out better. So I'm finding out that's a very useful tool for me. I don't know if it might work for any of you guys, but it might. So build a rough representation of what you're trying to work on. Anything from a pirate theme to western, space, whatever it is. Build it as crudely as... Don't purposely build it crudely, but just build it without having the pressure of like, oh, it has to be perfect right off the bat. Because again, none of the stuff that I build is perfect off the bat. It takes time to redo things, repaint, stuff like that. So I basically did that with the last room. I did it with the room before the auto attack was the same idea. So this is always a way to try to get things better, because again, it takes time to make something look decent. And again, the worst critique to yourself is you, so try not to be so harsh on yourself sometimes. I was being very harsh on myself on this dark ride. Like, I thought in the whole challenge of the dark ride stuff, Robo was going to win with his murdering Santa darkride, which I thought was phenomenal. But I didn't expect I would be the one chosen. So again, I thought my darkride was not the best, even though the rest of the community says it looked okay. So again, there's sometimes your inner voice like blocks out what you should actually be hearing from other people, and taking actual good criticism from people and hearing good comments and stuff like that. So it was kind of that hard to kind of swallow a little bit, but I'm very appreciative that the community found my darkride pretty cool. I found it one of my top tier projects out of everything I've built at this point, and hopefully in the future there will be more bigger rides or bigger parks in total. Again, I need to finish American Adventure, so hopefully so the New Year's resolution for me would be finish American Adventure by hopefully February, maybe push it to March, but I want to finish it as soon as possible. So I might skip January's build challenge. I already skipped December's, which is the little mini coaster. I didn't feel like I needed to do that, and I had other projects working. So yeah, this has been having too much on my plate. I'm trying to remove some things, and again, also real life stuff also happens too. So again, next year will be some cool stuff. I know I want to do the campaign playthrough of the original campaign in Parkitect with like doing vanilla builds and stuff. More Parkitect University should come around, and then some more mini dioramas, because I think the mini dioramas really help with like creative block, because when you look at a big area you get overwhelmed. You think about all these cool ideas. Like I saw in the like discussions, the Parkitect discussions in the Discord server, that players are getting burnt out quickly on giant projects like theme parks and stuff, and I feel like there's a way to mitigate the burnout by doing little projects here and there off-put, or doing another game. Or doing something else entirely. That's why I think American Adventure has taken this long to be completed, because I started it last year during 2020. So yeah, it's been a while. So hopefully the park will be finished by next year, March, February, maybe. Cross your fingers, or keep me keep me accountable for it, because I need to finish it. It needs to be done. The water park needs to be finished, and then the park will be uploaded, and then it's good to go. So this last scene is the walle the holodeck. This is the very crude version. I will show you a live tour of it in about a minute or so. So I'm just going to leave you here. I'll meet you in the overview, and I'll see you then. Okay, here we are in Walle to the Rescue, and I want to show you the last scene. I forgot the other scene. There's 4 scenes I needed to finish, I just realized. So here's the holodeck when I redid it. I didn't record it, unfortunately, because I was kind of pressured on doing it, and I didn't feel like I needed the pressure, so I just skipped it. And I just made sure that this was done in more of a what's it called? More pleasing way. So I did some of my billboard trick here again. I made some more of the axioms areas, and then I redid this front, and this is where it leads you up to the bridge. And this is triggered to turn green whenever Wally and Eve are talking about the plant, or some voice is talking about putting it in, and we put it in, and then I didn't do the extra effects, but the effect that I wanted to do was make this go light speed or something, or some type of specialized dark thing, so it didn't happen. But again, on to the last scene where Wally and Eve are putting the plant in the ground amongst the junk, and then there's a skyline of more buildings. It was a very quick little scene. I wish the vehicle was turned around, but again, I can't allowed to do that stuff. But I'm going to show you the ride in a dark ride format, maybe. Well, actually, I'll show you some other details that I worked on too. So here's a giant walle for like a picture op for guests to look at. There's some more junk and some more cars everywhere. The guests spawn out of here, but I want the guests to this is supposed to be connected to like the extra part of the park. This is not supposed to be where they're supposed to spawn, but I kind of hid it away, so I kind of like that. And then this is a B&L Burgers. This is where a regular restaurant is for guests to go get their foods and stuff. And then there's a building that kind of covers up the depot. But I had some fun doing some backstage stuff with the resort tech stuff and just to make it look different. We'll see what this looks like at night, because again, it is a dark ride. We have to see what it looks like at night. And before this park gets really full of guests, because it's going to get really crazy, the things that I added was this little ride vehicle in front. So I'm suggesting that guests can come by, check out if they can fit in the seat, and then take picture ops and then go into the dark ride. There is a little sign that says your height requirements and excitement of the ride, or what to expect, because all dark rides have this, all rides have this in general. So here's the front, I don't know what you want to call this, the loading station for the ride. Actually, let's go grab, how do I grab the ride? Oh wait, I need to see first. Actually, it's easier if I just did this. Oh, here, trackless ride. Oops. No, grab. Trackless ride, okay. And then hit the, here, let's wait for the vehicle to come to the end, and then we're good to go. So I didn't leave open the exit, because I felt like the exit would have been a boring thing to theme, so I skipped that entirely. Sometimes things are not necessarily important. So if you also notice, there's an Easter egg right here. I found some Source Trooper helmets in I think Props Galore, I think it's called, yeah. So the ride wheel goes, and then there's an emergency light that goes off in the walls, and then we're off to the first section of the ride. I think it's about a 3 or 5 minute ride. I can't remember the exact stats. 2 minutes. It's only a 2-minute ride. Wow. So here's off to the first scene. There's Wally. There's Eve. There's the plant. We find it, so the music will be playing like from Wally, and then it goes into the first room. Wally would be like screaming, like his Wally scream, and then Eve's being taken up, and the music would be like dramatic, and then smoke, lights go out. And then it goes into the light speed room, or hyperspace, into the first set of elevators, coming into the bridge of the Axiom. And then this room goes green when the Gopher founds out that Eve has a plant. Oh, now it rains. How convenient. It's okay. We'll continue on. Then Axiom is the Axiom Bridge. And the little bot that does the keyboards, and onto the second set of elevators into the first scene on the Axiom Bridge. So there's the captain, there's Eve, there's Wally, and then into the fight with Otto, and then there's the captain again. So I just took this blueprint, moved it over, and then this scene doesn't change much. No, that doesn't change, but you're there only a couple seconds. Back walls completely blank. But see how the vehicles are turned toward that scene still, so this kind of suggests that you're still supposed to watch it more as it does something. And then into this scene of the end scene again I showed you earlier. I made sure that some of the timing was right, because again, these vehicles wait here actually longer than it should. So just imagine this room going dark with the light speed or some projection screen or something, and then into the last room with a door. This is the only part of the ride that has a proper door, and then there's the last bit. But there's the full ride in its glory. Wally the Dark Ride, or Wally to the rescue. What else is there? Oh yeah, so this room over here, this is where all the trigger effects are stored. You can actually see all of them set up against the window. Some more random backstage areas, some underground things are going on, and just simple things on the side, nothing really like overwhelming. I didn't have to go super detailed on things. Again, I was still thinking of a real life dark ride, on the things they would skip on detailing, the things they would constantly detail. So I hope you guys liked this creation of Wally Dark Ride, because there's never been one in real life, so I felt like it was an appropriate one to choose from. I'm going to thank my patrons for the support. If you want to support me on Patreon, you can. There's a link in the description. So everybody have a good New Year's Day, Happy New Year, basically, and I'll see you guys next year for maybe, hopefully, a new episode of American Adventure, or maybe the start of the campaign play. I don't know which is going to happen first, so I will figure that out soon, but I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.